My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, as for this moment, I decide I'm going to get on and start to paint the robin. I've already done a video where I demonstrated how I did the shading to burn around its head, and I would say that it was a little more work than what you saw in that video, so I took a little time in between videos to do a little more, make sure I got about out as much as I could of all the brown spots of the wood. So it'll just so happen this time around that I'm going to start to do a little something where I'm going to take some burnt orange paint and start to paint the belly. So that's what we're going to have here. Take some of this and we'll set it aside there as we do it, but I say we've kind of got a lot of little brushes that kind of went into random little off the wall places, I say, so we gotta try to get all these brushes together, take care of this little messy here, and come down to the belly. You know, it's kind of neat how we got little robin redbreast here, nice little birdie as she is. I say, you know, makes me think about a little scene of that old Eddie Murphy movie, Dr. Dolittle, where, you know, you see these little pigeons and that male pigeon is attracted to robins as you hear the conversation between them. You know, won't really share much of that in this video, but if you ever kind of want to look it up for yourself, you'll see it. It was a pretty funny scenario there. So I say, just kind of put the little work inside the robiness and say it's just kind of like one little work after another after another. We don't know how she's gonna turn out in the long run, but I say that it's always good how you notice the way she always catches those worms, feeds them to her babies. I say there's probably going to be another little extra coat or two to be added of this paint later, but this is kind of like the little place where we begin to start to just put a little paint on her belly and kind of give her a little more color, I say, because that's how the birdies go and that's what they do. I say it's just beautiful work. I mean, I tell y'all that I enjoy this carving hobby and painting these birds and all the dogs and all the cats and all the other things I like to make. You'll see them all. I mean, you know, robin redbreast, she has to kind of be careful to protect her babies from the cats and the squirrels that kind of get up into the trees, you know. Oh, the natures of cats to catch birds. I kind of remember as a kid, next door neighbor had a cat, and that cat would just climb up in the tree. We'd watch her out the window as we were eating dinner, and we'd see what she did with all those birds, you know. Little neat little thing we saw there. I say how she would just get up in the tree and jump up at the birds, and I say just once or twice the cat even fell out of the tree on her paws, but that is just kind of among those things where cats have 9 lives. But I say it's just not always the most pleasant thing. There had kind of been a time in our lives we had that when we had a cat that those same neighbors had sometime later kind of ran out the road and got hit as another neighbor was driving home from work and hit it. So it was just a horrible event. It was hard on that teenage girl who was among the neighbors who lost that cat in their home, and it was just a horrible adventure to see. I say, sometimes we see things like that happen, and we just don't know all the significance of every little thing that goes on. But I say, it would be kind of hard to keep some of these wild birds as pets, but if you ever wanted to own a wildlife center, you probably could keep them. But we're going to take a little break there and give this breast some time to dry and come back later and do a little more painting. Well, now you've already seen the breast painted, so we're going to come on here and try to kind of take a little white paint and paint this little part that is under its chin that is kind of like a little white part of the bird. And see, we kind of make it so it's got the little area in it where we're going to try to put a little bit of more time and work into the piece, kind of make it so it's going to be just what it's going to be when we kind of try to get a little piece of work done in. These are kind of like how little sides are coming out, so got another place in here to make where we kind of put a little more white right in to try to make it come out like a little robin bird with the little white part that goes from about its chin to its neck up into the place where the breast is orange. I looked at some pictures on Google and at some patterns and saw all this, so it was just kind of good to try to make this all just come right in. So that's what we've got right there. And with all things I see, we kind of got to put a little bit of some little extra white in it just to see how it does, how it goes, how it works, and see this little color change that it makes. I say that's where we come along there, and we're going to take a break and let that dry and maybe put on other coats and come back to paint the beak. Now, when it comes to folk art that we have to sometimes use whatever colors we have, sometimes even mix them together, and I sort of have a pineapple yellow here and a little antique gold yellow, and one thing I kind of have to do to make a little yellow that is good for the robin's beak is to mix the two of these together, because those are the two types of yellow that I have at the very moment. So that's kind of what I have to use, and see how this is just gonna turn out. And I say with just a little project on the way, I say that this is just kind of like the way I see a little thing or two gonna come out just like this and get down to it. And I say just kind of get it where it looks like the way it's turning out. It might need a little bit more of one type than it has. And I say that there's going to be this little moment when we're going to get a little knife in there and dig out the little clog that's blocking it and get out a little more out of the little spot. I say that I tell you, I'm having a little struggle with this. because some of these paints, they are getting pretty old and getting to where they're probably not working quite as well. But to get down to this very little thing, I say, just kind of like put a little bit of extra work down into the little beak of the poor pitiful robin, and say we kind of got to put the little yellow right in. Oh, I say, it just kind of makes us think how it goes when, the little things like this come about. It's a good yellow to get in for the robin's beak, I say, and I kind of enjoy it this way, Sometimes a little mix of colors does us a little good, and I say that it's just not a time when I want to think too much about other stuff. I say get a little color right in and make it so it's going to be a little good little project to come up with, and it's just kind of like little things we see, you know, for one little project coming after another. I've got a little work coming in to do. I say, just making it so we're seeing little beaks of critters come our way, and I say of all things that this is a good way to start, good way to go, and we're probably going to come back later and paint a little bit more white into the chin, but give this a little moment to dry. And what I want to say is that I thank you all so much for coming on. Means a lot, means the world. I wish you all the best and take care always. And one last thing I forgot to mention to you all is that this will be the finale to the series about carving and painting and finishing the robin. There may be a time in between videos or between now and the next series when I will come back to do a little more painting on the chin, but that is about what I had to say for this series. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all will subscribe and always keep in touch. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.